going to pick a card, a story that I'm going to tell right now. Here we go. Oh, the human soul. This is my Born to Run. Okay. This happened in the year 2000. I was living alone. I was after my divorce from Diane. I was working at a law firm called ZSKS, and I was in therapy at the time. And my therapist suggested that I take this class called TLC, which stood for the Learning Class. It's also known by some other names. It may be known as P3 now because Pamela knows about it. And I took this class. It was a weekend event. Friday night, you go there. There's 25 people who are participating in this event. It costs like $350. So there's 25 people who are taking the class, this class, TLC. And then there's another 50 people in the room who are people who have taken the class before, and now they're coming back to take it again for free. And they're also called angels because they're there to help the people who are going through this course on their own. So during this course, we had a lot of exercises and activities to try to help you get more in touch with yourself and your own feelings and other people as well. The highlight of the show, I guess, was that everyone in the 25 people who were there got to get in front of the class, in front of the whole group on a tall director's chair and sit there and face the entire group, 75 people, and tell their story. That they're allowed to be up there for as long as they want. And then people from the group participate and they respond to them and they say, well, have you ever thought about this or have you ever thought about that? Trying to be helpful to help this person through. While the person's sitting in the chair, in the tall director's chair, people in the group, in the room, are encouraged to come up to the front of the room and put their hand on the person's shoulder like that while the person's talking. So their hand is on their shoulder. And then somebody else can come up and put their hand on the other shoulder, and then more and more people can come up and put their hands on each other's shoulder. And sometimes there were 6 and sometimes up to 9 people who were just so moved by whatever this person was saying, they felt like getting up and putting their hands on people around them. Okay, so that was going on. And there was this guy there, a young man, like in his early 40s. His name was Hector, and he was there because he had lost his 13-year-old daughter. Okay, terrible tragedy. The guy was broken. I mean, the guy was in bad shape. There was also a woman there named Wendy, who was like in her mid-20s, who was there because she just lost her father. Okay, these people didn't know each other. These were just people that I was taking, they were in the group that I was in. And when Wendy was up talking, we'd already heard from Hector, and everybody really felt sad about his loss and everything. And Wendy was talking later on in the weekend. It went on for Saturday and Sunday. As she was talking, the moderator of the event, her name was Vicky, came up and stopped her while she was talking about her father, and she went up and she got Hector out of the group, and she pulled Hector up to the front so that the 3 of them were standing in the front of the room. And she took Wendy by the hand, she got her off of her director's chair, and the 3 of them were standing with Hector and Wendy facing each other, and Vicky was like in the middle like this. And Vicky says to them, she says to Hector, Hector, I want you to speak to Wendy the way you would speak to your daughter if your daughter was still alive today. Talk to Wendy the way you would talk to your own daughter. And she said to Wendy, I want you to talk to Hector like as if you're talking to your father, like as if your father was here right now, and you get to share. Every time I tell this fucking story, I start crying. Okay, tell your father what you would say, right, if he was still alive. Okay, so that was going on, right? These 3 people were standing there. As this was happening, people in the room began to come up and put their hands on Wendy and on Victor and on Vicky, and people were standing around all 3 of them, and more people were coming up. And I went up there, and by the time I got up there, there was I was like a 3rd row back. There were 2 people in front of me, and then like Hector and Wendy and Vicky were like maybe 8 feet away from me, and we were all standing like this. We had our arms like this. We were all on each other's shoulders, like a big group hug or like a huddle in football, and we all have our heads down like this, and we're listening really, really hard because they're talking. You can hear Hector speaking, you can hear Wendy responding, and you hear Wendy speaking, you hear Hector responding, and they're talking, and Vicky's standing there, and they're so soft. The voices were so soft. These people were so choked up from the emotion, they could hardly speak. We were all listening. Talk about, a pin drop, right? You heard that expression? Unbelievable. So we're listening and listening and listening, trying to listen to what they're saying as they're talking. And at one point, I looked around, I looked to my left, and I looked around, and I realized that the entire room, all 75 people, were all standing around this group. The entire room was up there, all with their heads like this, all their arms over each other, like as if we were like one giant single-celled amoeba, and they were the nucleus, and we were the mitochondria. So we're like this in this position. And at that moment, Vicky, everyone was choked up. Everybody, nobody could breathe. And Vicky said to Hector and to Wendy, she said, quote, "Take a breath." Okay, she was talking to Wendy and Hector. She wasn't talking to the class, right? She wasn't talking to everybody in the room. She said, Wendy and Hector, she goes, "Take a breath." Okay? When she said that, when Vicky said, "Take a breath," everyone in the room went like this. Like that. You could feel it. Every single person in the room lifted their arms up and then dropped their arms down. They all took the breath at the same time. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? I think that I just saw something amazing. I think that I just saw the human soul. And to this day, I believe that at that moment, when there were so many people all focusing on the same two people in the center of just this emotional circle of support, I think the human soul said, you know what? I'm real. I lost the card already. Here it is. All right. And that's the story of the human soul. Be sure to read my book, Broccoli Time by Dr. Allen. Peace on Amazon. Love and out.